just went back to bed, and I got up at like 5 and started studying again. And then when I saw Dick and Terry come to the door, you know, because I was in the kitchen, and I came to the door and I saw it was them, and I thought, oh gosh, this is about that rollover. But it never dawned on me that it was the end, that it was fatal. And I opened the door and I said, are you guys here because of the rollover? Who is it? What happened? You know, are they okay? And it was Karen, and she didn't make it, you know. I couldn't believe it. And so, you know, they were just so kind and just right there. And then I asked, you know, was she by herself? And no, Amanda was with her. And I said, was Amanda okay? No.
And all of this time, we were realizing that there was another notification just down the road that needed to take place. And quite frankly, I was a little concerned that word would get there before we got there.
We heard the dog barking, and you know, I looked out and saw a sedan. I don't know. Well, I could see right away that one of them was Dick. I recognized the sheriff. I'd never met him before. So I knew that it was something bad, but I had no idea what it was about.
David answered the door, Amanda's father.
Dave went down first, and because we were still in bed, and he said, Carrie, there's something you have to hear, come down. And my heart just started pounding, because it's like, this is going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And Dick said, we lost Amanda last night. And it's their worst nightmare. And you have such a pain here, and for months you'll just feel this aching in your heart because of the loss is so great.
You feel totally inadequate.
It's very hard dealing with the media when something like this happens, because the only feeling I had is that they wanted sensationalism at any cost.
What they remember is that she died in a crash because of alcohol. Unfortunately, that's one of the stigmas that come from tragedies like this, is that for some people that's the only way she'll be remembered, her and Karen both. You know, it was, you know, a preventable tragedy, and that's what they'll remember both of these girls by. And that's difficult, because it's so much. I mean, that was the last flash of her life.
I happen to know that both girls were offered other rides home that night. They didn't take them.
I know that the individual who offered her a ride fights every day, you know, with, you know, if I would have known, would I have gone further than just saying, are you all right? Do you need a ride home? Would I have taken her keys, knowing that I was saving her life? So that I know for that person is a huge area of regret. And Karen did refuse it.
I'm not naive enough to sit and think that they're never, you know, people at this age group are never going to drink. I just hope that themselves and their peers use better judgment when they get into vehicles. You know, first off, if you're going to drink, don't drive. When you get into a motor vehicle, there's no do-overs. There's no take-backs sometimes. Once that accident starts rolling, you're going to go wherever God takes you, and there's no do-overs.
The girls lost the ability to live and love and to find things in life that really bring happiness. I mean, I'm not suggesting that they weren't happy, but to live a life to meet someone, to marry, to have children of your own.
I lost my best friend. I lost my shoulder to cry on.
The state police, they don't call these accidents, they call them crashes because they're preventable. You know, I mean, at any point in this whole, you know, the whole evening, the progression of time that led up to this, any number of people could have said, stop. They could have forced the issue in one way or another. And, you know, I mean, we don't know, obviously, at this point. I mean, it's what happened. But it's preventable. It's a needless tragedy that, you know, well, if people don't do, you know, if they refrain from the bad behavior, accidents happen. Hey, accidents do happen. But this was no accident. No.
No matter what, you shouldn't drink and drive. You shouldn't. It's a risk that you don't ever need to take.
I think parents and their children need to sit down and say, if this does happen, if you find yourself in a position, if you have had one drink, you can't drive.
And we need to know that there are people who care enough about us that we can call them and say, I've made a mistake, but I don't want to make a bigger one.
You can have fun without having to have something to alter your state of mind.
If good was going to come out of her death, it was going to be because people forced the issue, because good was wrung out of it. And this is part of that, you know. If people will listen, you know, if people will hear and, you know, try to understand, I mean, or, well, if they'll listen, I think they will understand. And it'll change people's behavior.